Hey, what's going on, everybody? So with the Oscars on tonight, I figured it's time I finally give my top 10 favorite films of the year 2024. I know people like to do this at the end of each year, but I like to do this a little bit closer to Oscar season. It just gives me a little bit more time to get things done, get caught up on some more films, and hopefully get a better list locked in. So let's get into this. I'm going to start this list with 6 honorable mentions. My honorable mentions in no particular order are Magazine, I Saw the TV Glow, Deadpool and Wolverine, Magpie, Saturday Night, and Civil War. 6 films I was hesitant not to put into the top 10, but they just couldn't quite crack the list, but all great films that you guys should check out if you haven't seen them yet. Okay, now for the top 10 films of 2024. Here we go. My number 10 favorite film of 2024 is Abigail. I thought this was a completely original horror film that really blew me away. I saw it toward the beginning of the year and I just loved it so much. It's a great vampire flick, one of the better ones made. Great ensemble and such a blast to watch. I got to meet most of the cast, which was very, very cool. I was so thrilled with Abigail and it was just such a surprise. It was so much better than I would have ever thought. My number 9 favorite film of 2024 goes to Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Man, for this movie to follow up an already great Apes trilogy and to be the best one since the original Apes movie, to me is really, really fascinating and something that is not an easy feat. I really love the original film and it still is the best Apes film, but this one is a really close second for me. I thought the whole cast did a great job. I loved being able to tell Kevin Durand how much I enjoyed that one, so check that out. It's on my Instagram at DomRambles. My 8th favorite film of 2024 has to go to Heretic. This movie blew me away. I was so shocked by how great this was. It was such a great little horror thriller. I think that this actually could be like a career best performance from Hugh Grant for me. I actually thought he was that good in the movie. It was the first time I could recall seeing Sophie Thatcher in a film, and she was so good in that and continues to be good into this year. But what a film Heretic was, bringing up a lot of messages about religion and things that are kind of really good points regardless of what religion you're in, and what a creepy under your skin kind of dude Hugh Grant is in this film. I mean, my god, and the script is just so solid. I mean, the dialogue in this was mind-blowingly good. My 7th favorite film of 2024 has to go to Wicked. My gosh, what an amazing surprise this was. I mean, I've always loved John M. Chu as a director, but I knew nothing about the Broadway musical that he was adapting here. Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande did so well together in the film. Jeff Goldblum's Oz was incredible, but Ariana Grande was definitely the standout here. She blew me away in this movie. I actually personally think she's the one that deserves the Oscar. I think Zoe Saldana is going to win, but my gosh, was Ariana Grande so incredible in this, and I have no vested interest in Ariana Grande other than maybe a couple songs prior to this movie, and now I'm going to be paying attention to her career moving forward. I think that she is a very, very talented actress with a lot to offer. It was also just a mind-blowing prequel to The Wizard of Oz. Not knowing the Broadway musical, I was not emotionally prepared for it, so I was very happy that I was able to see it in this form, and I just cannot wait for part 2. I think it's going to be one of the best movies of this year, so I can't wait for that. My 6th favorite film of 2024 goes to Challengers. I thought Challengers was so much better than it had any business being. You did really have a good leading lady in Zendaya. I thought that she knocked this thing out of the park. You could argue it's her career best role, just unfortunately she was in a year that she had a lot of competition in, so yeah, it was probably tough to nominate her, but I love Challengers so much. I thought this was one of the best movies of the year, especially one that dropped early. A lot of these actually dropped earlier than the usual award season months, and I also think it found 2 standout actors in Josh O'Connor and Mike Feist. It reminded me of watching De Niro and Harvey Keitel in Mean Streets for the first time, and you could just tell that these 2 are going to be massive stars. I really felt that way about Mike Feist and Josh O'Connor in this film. I thought they did a tremendous job, and Luca Guadagnino did a great job directing this film. I loved his choices of shots. They looked stunning throughout. I love that he made tennis look cool. The relationship between the main trio was just so intriguing throughout. My number number 5 favorite film of 2024 goes to Longlegs. Oh my gosh, Osgood Perkins directed one hell of a horror film that you don't feel great about when you're walking out of it because it is genuinely creepy. I thought Nicolas Cage absolutely gave a stellar performance, one of his career best for sure. He was so creepy. The story was just unsettling, but it was also a really good thriller that was very well shot and kept you invested the entire time. Man, did I just really love Longlegs. If you haven't seen it, I can't recommend it enough. My number 4 of 2024 is going to A Complete Unknown. My gosh, this movie couldn't have been any more made for me. I am a massive Bob Dylan fan. I love Timothée Chalamet. I thought that he just played this role so perfectly. Like, he becomes Bob Dylan in this movie. I actually just rewatched it again recently, and in my mind I was just thinking, what's so special about this again? Because it's really just watching Bob Dylan be Bob Dylan. Oh, and then I realized that's what makes it amazing, because you just kind of feel like you're watching Bob Dylan. You don't feel like you're watching Timothée Chalamet. That's how good the performance is. Same with Monica Barbaro as Joan Baez. I mean, just gets sucked into that role, and Boyd Holbrook as Johnny Cash. That whole ensemble was so great. James Mangold making another phenomenal musical biopic. I love Walk the Line, so I was so excited to see what he'd do with Bob Dylan, and my gosh, did he just knock it out of the park. I love that by the end of it, Bob Dylan really is just still a complete unknown, though. You don't really have like a ton of information about him, but my gosh, did you love just spending time with him. I think Timothée Chalamet absolutely deserves the Oscar this year, honestly. Like, he just becomes Bob Dylan. He sounds like Bob Dylan when he sings. He did a lot of those songs live, from my understanding, like on set, and they didn't really do much editing to them. Man, it just sounded so good. The movie is so entertaining from top to bottom. I love that it puts you in these different time periods so you can understand why people are relating to Bob Dylan's music and why he blew up and what is so great about Bob Dylan. My number 3 favorite film of 2024 goes to what I think is the best horror film of 2024. That's Nosferatu. Nosferatu is so freaking stellar. It's one of the best movies of 2024 easily. This is a remake, and it is actually better than its original, and it's obviously another adaptation on Bram Stoker's Dracula. I actually have that book sitting right there. Wow, what an amazing job Robert Eggers did on this film. I love him as a horror director. I actually think he's the best horror director working right now. I've loved all 4 of his films. He's just one of the best directors, period, working right now. Obviously, Northman is not necessarily a horror film. 3 of the 4 of his films are horror movies, and he makes them very well, and Nosferatu does not disappoint. It's actually my second favorite film of his, right under The Lighthouse. The performances in this are really good. Lily Rose Depp playing a role that was supposed to be Anya Taylor-Joy, and I was a little disappointed that Anya Taylor-Joy was no longer doing this one because I'd been following this project for a while, but Lily Rose Depp just absolutely knocked it out of the park. And Bill Skarsgård, oh my god, this is his best role to date. Him playing Nosferatu himself is just so great in this film, and I can't believe how well he did and how stellar this film was. If you guys have not checked out Nosferatu, I can't recommend it enough. I hope you do. It's literally one of the best horror movies of maybe the past 10 years. So my number 2 is a little indie project that I saw in the theater 3 times last year because I just loved it so much. I had no idea it was going to blow my mind as much as it did. But my number 2, my runner-up here, is going to Anora. I am a fan of Sean Baker in general, but this one just really stunned me in ways I didn't think it could. Mikey Madison I'd seen in her little tiny roles. I think she deserves the Oscar, honestly, this year for Best Actress. She really just gave the best performance of 2024. And I think that this movie does what a movie is supposed to do. I think that this movie is the reason movies are made. It makes you feel. That was the goal of the film, but it makes you feel for somebody in a position that we're maybe not used to following in the lead of movies. Not that it hasn't been done before, but obviously Mikey Madison is playing Anora, who's a sex worker, and I was really enthralled by how relatable they made her. I just thought this movie was shot beautifully. It was acted wonderfully. It was a lot funnier than I thought it was going to be, and I just love that Sean Baker kind of sticks to his guns and just keeps his movies very raw and real feeling, and it just feels so grounded. And the location of the city was amazing, but it really does come down to Mikey's performance. I mean, Mikey's performance carries the film throughout. It is an ensemble, and the entire ensemble is very good working with her, but she really just stands out in a way that I was not expecting from an actress who I've really only seen in 2 small roles prior to this. She just killed it. Regardless if it wins anything or not, I actually think it will win Best Picture. Not that I necessarily think it deserves it, but I think it will win Best Picture. But regardless if it wins anything at the Oscars or not, I do want to say, like I'm just really happy to see the nominations for such a small movie like this. I mean, this is really done on a very minimal budget. So if you guys haven't seen Anora, it really is one of my favorite films of the year. It's one of the best of the year. I'm telling you, just check it out. It really blew me away. I was so stunned by how great Anora was. And finally, my number one favorite film of 2024 couldn't go to anything except for Dune Part 2. I said it when I reviewed it here on the channel. This should win the Oscar. It really should. It should win Best Picture. I'm glad to see it's at least nominated in Best Picture, but Denis Villeneuve should have been in the Best Director category, damn it. This is the best movie I have seen in the past 10 years. This is an actual top 25 favorite movie of all time for me, and I don't say that about a lot, but this one actually made it into my all-time favorite films. I was so stunned by what I saw in Dune Part 2 this year. I've been following Denis Villeneuve's career for a long time, and I'm so happy to see him make a film that's as great as this. I mean, this movie, there's nothing else like it. Even though it's adapted from a novel, it's a very complicated novel to adapt, number one. Number two, it still feels like its own original thing. It is the most visually stunning, gorgeous thing I've ever seen, with tremendous performances, some of which did not get nominated. I think Austin Butler should be in the category for sure. I would put him over Guy Pearce any day. And yes, I did see The Brutalist, and I liked it quite a bit. It's nothing against Guy Pearce's performance, but come on, what Austin Butler did as Fade Rotha in that film is incredible. It's unreal. The fighting choreography in this movie is stunning. The action is great. The script is amazing. The music is amazing. It really fires on all cylinders and checks all the boxes of what you would look for in any movie. Yeah, guys, my number one film of 2024 is absolutely Dune Part 2. I don't know why anybody would disagree with that. I know film is subjective and we all have our own opinions, but come on, guys. Did you see Dune Part 2 and how freaking amazing it is? It just felt so groundbreaking. I saw that movie like 4 times in the theater. It was so good. And each time I had to do the IMAX screening. I own it at home. I gotta say, it doesn't compare to what it was like seeing it in IMAX for sure, but it's still, the storytelling is just the best. I find it amazing that Timothée Chalamet is leading 2 Best Picture nominees this year, by the way. I just want to throw that out there. And another great Zendaya performance is in Dune Part 2 as well. So her and Timothy are in 2 of my personal top 10 movies, so that's pretty cool. I think what those 2 are doing with their careers is groundbreaking. It's stunning. I just can't wait to see what those 2 performers do moving forward. But guys, before I sign off, I do want to know what your favorite films of 2024 were. I really want to hear your comments on this. I can't wait to hear your comments on this. I think this is actually a lot of fun to do every year, so I can't wait to do more. I've already seen some good ones this year, not great ones yet, pretty good ones, so we'll see what the rest of 2025 brings. All right, guys, before I get out of here, if you like what you saw here today, please hit the like button below, subscribe to the channel, leave some feedback in the comment section, share this with your friends, hit the bell for notifications. My name is Dom, and I will talk to you guys later.